ladies and mostly gentlemen, today we're going to talk about my favourite subject in all of World of Warcraft, speculating the Tinker class. Now, in this video we're not going to talk about when they're coming or what they're going to be like. That video has pretty much already been covered by Talius and Inevitail. And if you want to check out that video, I highly recommend that you do check it out. Before watching this video, I'm going to put a marker in the top right of your screen right now. And if you don't want to watch it, well, just watch it right now. Let's watch it right now. Okay, here it goes. So I think we're all pretty much in agreement that the Tinker class will be some sort of ranged ability class with turrets and stuff like that, and nothing is a bigger clue than the Island Expedition Tinkers. So if you didn't know, there are two groups of Tinkers that are a random AI group in the Island Expeditions, and what we're actually going to do in this video is look at their abilities and what they do, what they look like, and some other very interesting things I found while doing this video, which, yeah, it's definitely worth sticking by for. So as I said, there are two groups. There is a Horde group and an Alliance group. One's consisted of gnomes and one's consisted of goblins with a random undead female. I think a lot of people will imagine Tinkers as being gnomes or goblins, but I think really they might actually extend it out to undeads, potentially even dwarfs and some other races, I think, and maybe even every single race, similar to the monk, where they can kind of teach other races how to do it. But that's not here or there. That's just another speculation that we can have, I'm sure, forever. So yeah, let's crack on with the video. Now, we're not just going to look at a random spell on Wowhead. I'm actually going to show you guys what these spells look like and some of the animations, because some of the animations are super unique and really, really cool. And honestly, just looking at them and just makes me want to play a Tinker so freaking bad. And I really hope the day they do come, they do have some serious inspiration from these Island Expedition Tinkers abilities, because they are so damn cool. One thing to note before we jump in, there are actually a total of 31 abilities for the Tinkers, but there are only 16 unique abilities. Now what I mean by that is that, for example, there'll be two abilities that are exactly the same but have different names due to who uses them. So the Horde one will have a different name to the Alliance one, but they actually do the same thing, and I'll let you know the names of both abilities when we come to it. So the first ability we're going to look at is called Shadowy Decoy Disengage for the Horde and Dizzy's Decoy Disengage for the Alliance. This is a really cool spell, and it actually requires level 8. This is the thing I was talking about. Some of these spells have level requirements. Like, that is really strange, and I really can't get my head around why they have level requirements. This one's level 8. There are some that are different levels, we'll go through that as and when. But yeah, so this spell is really cool, and what it does is when it's activated, what you'll do is do a leap backwards and spawn a Shadowy Decoy. Now while you're in the air, you actually vanish, so whatever target is targeting you will no longer be targeting you, and their target will move over to the decoy. So it's a perfect spell for kind of like disengaging and running away, and it's really great. It's got a 30-second cooldown, as I said, requires level 8. Both of them look exactly the same, the Dizzy's one and the Shadowy Decoy. I really like the spell. I think it's a really cool idea, and yeah, very cool for the Tinkers. The next spell is called Rocket Turret for the Horde and Automatic Explosive Ejector for the Alliance. Now this is a perfect class fantasy spell for me personally for the Tinkers. It requires level 14, but you might have seen it in Island Expeditions. Basically what happens is that you spawn a turret at your feet for 15 seconds, which just shoots randomly at nearby enemies within 25 yards every 2 seconds, dealing a fair amount of damage. And this actually has 2 charges as well, so you can spawn 2 turrets at once with a 10-second recharge timer. Very cool, exactly like the class fantasy for the Tinker. I really hope they have something like this, because spawning turrets just sounds like a whole ton of fun, to be honest. The next spell we're going to look at is a healing spell. This is called Healbot for the Horde and Medic Bot for the Alliance. Fairly basic. You spawn a Healbot at your feet for 10 seconds and it heals all of the party around you for 10 seconds, which is really cool, with a 30-second cooldown. So you have about 20 seconds where you can't heal anyone, but yeah, really cool. I love the look of the NPC. I think it looks really awesome. Obviously it's a model that we've seen a few times, but I think it's perfect for the Tinkers. It just goes to show that potentially Tinkers won't only be a DPS class, but also a healing class, which the idea of that is really exciting to me. The next spell isn't massively unique, and it is literally just called Vanish, and it is exactly the same as the Rogue's Vanish, but it doesn't put you in stealth after it, because the Tinkers do not have a stealth ability. So they literally, all this ability will be used for is to kind of remove aggro and kind of get out of there as fast as possible. So yeah, very interesting. I don't know if it's on the ability list only because of the Shadowy Decoy, but yeah, it's on there, and yeah, there you go, Vanish. The next ability is a bombing spell and is called Explodium Charge for the Horde and Blastomatic Frag Bomb for the Alliance. Now, both of these are slightly different, but they do the exact same amount of damage according to the tooltip. So the first one is the Explodium Charge, and this one's really cool. You kind of cast it, has a 1-second cast time with a 6-second cooldown, and you throw this bomb onto a target and it counts down and explodes. And I really like the animation there, it looks really cool. And as you can see, my character there is holding the bomb and he launches it into the air. The other one, Blastomatic Frag Bomb, is pretty much exactly the same. It is instant without a cooldown, so this is obviously just an NPC ability. And this one you can actually choose the area you want it to spawn in, and it has a 100-yard range, which is a massive range. So I think if they were to go with a realistic option for the Tinkers as a playable class, the Explodium Charge is more of a realistic spell to have. And yeah, so 3 seconds after throwing the bomb, it'll explode, and really cool. I like that. And these spells also require level 18, so yeah, take that as you will. The next ability is a horde-only spell called Buzzsaw. Now this is done by the NPC that has the mech suit, and Buzzsaw is a really cool spell. It is at melee range, has a 1-second cast and 10-second cooldown, and it requires level 26. And I love the animation on this. It's in melee range, so you have to be really close to the target. You click it, and it puts this giant saw on them, and what it does is it fires a close-range blast, knocking down all enemies in front of you for 2 seconds and dealing a bit of damage. Really cool animation, I really like that, and I think this is designed for being inside a mech suit. Now, a mech suit would be really awesome as kind of like a druid form sort of thing, or something you can temporarily do to give you a ton of damage or something like that. So yeah, Buzzsaw seems like a cool move. I wouldn't really be opposed to the idea of it. The next ability, again, I think is just for the mech suit, and it is called Death Laser, spelt really wrong, apparently. Has a 2-second cast and a 10-second cooldown, and it requires level 26 again, so let's just pretend in this make-believe world that at level 26 you get your mech suit. That's exciting. So this is a cool little spell. It fires a death laser, damaging all enemies in a line for a bit of damage, 8,000 damage, but obviously that's just a placeholder number. When you click it, you do the spell, and the animation is really cool, and it's just like this awesome cone of electricity. And I love the look of this spell, and I think, as I said, I think it is designed for the mech suit, but there's so many AoE damaging attacks as a Tinker. I think they'll be awesome in like PvP or something like that. It'll be a really interesting dynamic to be put in there. Yeah, I love Death Laser. It's one of my favorite abilities. The next spell is Turbo Boost. This is on the Alliance and the Horde, called the same thing, and all it does is increases your run speed. Doesn't have a cooldown, doesn't have a percentage, doesn't have a cast time or anything like that. I would imagine if it was to be implemented as an actual playable class, it would have like a cooldown and things like that, kind of like Sprint for the rogues. But yeah, it's just literally all it does is make you run a bit faster and until deactivated. So I don't think you'll always have a constant run speed increase. But yeah, it's an idea. You know, just give the Tinkers some sort of sprint. Not a bad idea. I guess you could, you know, add that on with the Vanish. You do a Vanish, you sprint away. Would be cool. The next ability is called Flamethrower in capital letters. This is a channeled spell with a 10-second cooldown, and what it does, it just makes you breathe a load of fire. Again, this could be with the mech suit, but it does require level 20, and it's very similar to the Death Laser, but a fire version. Just kind of fires in front of you and is channeled for not very long, but has a 10-second range. So again, another AoE ability, and the animation is really weird when you do it on a gnome or goblin. Just kind of goes all weird. I don't really know what happens, but yeah, Flamethrower, another AoE ability, pretty much the same as Death Laser, just the flame version, I suppose. And this is the Alliance only one, and the Death Laser is a Horde one, so I'd imagine they are kind of the same as each other. The next ability is a level 14 ability, and it is called Arachno Bomb for the Horde and Bombot 9000 for the Alliance. Now this is a cool spell. What you do is you target your enemy and you click this spell, and what it does is it spawns a little bomb bot which will run after them, and when it reaches them it explodes, and that is so cool. The Horde one has more of a rustic appearance, the Alliance one has more of kind of a, you know, the Alliance-y appearance that you'd expect. I really hope if they did do the Tinker class that the Alliance and the Horde would get different bombs and things like that. That would be a really awesome class fantasy for me. And yeah, this is a cool little spell, and it has a 5-second cooldown. It's instant. Kind of expect if you did have this spell, it would have a quick cooldown, so you could just fire bombs at people all the time, which would just be absolutely hilarious to see in like arena or something. Imagine that. So yeah, really cool. Love this spell. It's, yeah, really unique. Our next ability is a level 60 ability called Shock Baton for the Horde and Zephyr Blast for the Alliance. This is in melee range and has a 10-second cooldown. What it does, it just kind of creates this massive electrical shock to the enemy player and does some damage. But yeah, bit of a weird one. As I said, I really think the Tinkers will be some sort of range class, so not really sure about this one specifically. But yeah, it doesn't do a lot. It just kind of explodes and does a bit of damage. Not sure if this will actually make it into the final class, but yeah, a cool ability nonetheless. The next spell is another electrical attack which requires level 13. It is called Cutting Beam for the Horde and Zephyrium Beam for the Alliance. This is a channeled spell. The thing is with this is the longer you channel it, the more damage it does. It's nature damage, interestingly enough. And yeah, it just channels for like a couple seconds and the damage goes up as you go. It's kind of a ticking ability. Nothing too unique about it, just another electrical ability which is kind of cool. Not too bad. It's kind of like a shaman ability basically. Speaking of shaman abilities, they also have a chain lightning spell called Cascading Lightning Pulse for the Horde and Zephyrium Static Chain for the Alliance. It has a 1-second cast time and a 20-second cooldown and a 40-yard range. This is basically exactly the same as the Shaman's Chain Lightning effect, so nothing really too unique there, no unique animations or anything like that, just an ability that chain lightnings to any enemies that are around you with a small cooldown. The next spell is one of the more wacky ones which you'd expect with this class, and it is called Mega Bomb for the Horde and Big Bug Bombs for the Alliance. Now this one is really cool, it has a 3.5 second cast time and a 10-second cooldown, and what it does is you just click it and some massive bomb comes down, and within 15 yards around you it will just explode and do a ton of fire damage. And this has actually got a unique animation for the Horde one and the Alliance one. I personally prefer the Horde one. I think the Horde one looks really cool, but the Alliance one is what you'd expect from an Alliance spell, and what a cool ability that is. And 15-yard range is actually really big, and the damage could be potentially quite good, so yeah, what a cool little spell. The next ability is called Discharge for the Horde and Bug Zapper for the Alliance. This is actually pretty similar to the Tauren's War Stomp, and what it does, it just creates this kind of ring of electricity around you, and it will zap all the enemies within 8 yards, causing a little bit of damage and snaring them for 4 seconds, so this could be very good for PvP potentially. Cool little spell. I do like the animation there. You kind of jump in the air and stomp onto the ground. That's awesome, and the ground effect is really awesome as well when you have the effects turned up to the max. I like it. Nice little spell. 8-second cooldown seems a little bit fast. Potentially that could be changed, obviously, but yeah, I like that one. It also requires level 1, so this could be potentially one of your starter spells. The next ability is known as Crushing Charge and is a level 26 ability, which is basically like a Warrior's Charge, but it's slightly different, and I really like this one. So the way it works is slightly different to the Warrior's Charge, and what happens is you click the spell and you actually choose where you want it to go, and if, say, there was a group of enemies, you could actually charge through them all and damage them all with this ability, which is really cool. It has a 10-yard range, which isn't a lot, and a 1-second cast and a 12-second cooldown, but yeah, I really like it. It's kind of similar to the Engineer's rocket boost, but it does damage, and it puts out a line of flame behind you as well, which looks awesome, and I really like the spell. It's a cool little, could be potentially, you know, used for tanking or anything like that. More AoE abilities though. This Tinker class is insane with AoE abilities. The next spell is called Big Shot for the Horde and Charge Shot for the Alliance. This is a really unique spell. This is one of the few range spells that is actually on this class. I love the animation on this. So it has a cast time, and what happens is while that cast is happening, it adds this kind of blue ring around the enemy, which I really like. I don't play Hunter, so I don't know if that is something that has already been used, but I love the look of this. As a 6-second cooldown and a 50-yard range, uses 50 energy, and this is actually the first spell to actually have some sort of resource required, so potentially energy could be something that the Tinkers use. And yeah, I really like the spell, really cool to see. I love the animation as well, and hopefully with the playable Tinker we get a lot more range spells which are similar to this. And now our final spell, and you're damn sure I left the best for last. So this ability is called the Gravit Bomb 3000 for the Horde and the Black Hole Bomb for the Alliance. Now this is awesome. It is a instant cast, 35-yard range with a 30-second cooldown, and what happens is you pick your target, you throw a bomb into the target, and every target around it will be pulled into the area where you threw this bomb, and it'll explode after 3 seconds. The animation is amazing. You literally throw the bomb, it creates this massive dome around them and kind of sucks it in as it explodes. And the Horde and Alliance do have different animations. The Horde one is more rustic and the Alliance one actually has an Alliance logo on it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I am the biggest fan of this spell, and I really hope this is one of the spells out of this list that makes it into the final build of this playable class, if it ever does come to fruition, because this is one of the coolest spells. And I'd love to see this happen with like a group of players all bunched together, and you throw this bomb at one of them and they all just get sucked in and explode on this spell, and I would love to see that so badly. So that is pretty much it, guys. That is a full list of the Tinker abilities which are currently active on the Tinkers which are in Island Expeditions. I just want to give a absolutely massive shout out to Wowhead. I would not have been able to make this video without them at all. So what happened is basically I just searched the NPCs that were in Island Expeditions and all the abilities were there, so I didn't have to go scouting through the game files at all. They were all just perfectly there, ready for me to have a look at and study. And so yeah, thank you Wowhead for providing that information, because that is just incredible. I literally would not have been able to make this video without it. So let me know down below what you think of these abilities, which ability is your favorite, and which ones would you want to see on a playable Tinker class if they ever do come to the game. And hopefully next expansion will be the one where we get the Tinker class playable on some of the races, because I would absolutely love it, and I would instantly switch my main from a warrior to a Tinker if it became something similar to what we're seeing in this video. So before I go, let's give a massive shout out to our amazing patrons, YouTube channel members, and Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to support the channel in any of those ways, links are down below. So leave a like on this video, guys, if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. We've also got a partner Discord channel with over 3,000 members and a merch store over on Streamlabs. I'm also now streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM if you want to check me out on stream. We've been doing a lot of community events recently, just kind of still playing World of Warcraft unlike most people, and just kind of doing stuff with viewers. If you guys are interested, I play on the EU realms and we do stuff all the time. So twitch.tv/MrGM, link is in the description. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.